On Public Eye News, NMU is having a job fair and an Iron River man is arrested for assault.
Later in the show, I will have your weather and Ross Ray. We'll have your sports. Hi, I'm Caleb Rydell.
And I'm Jillian Wormlinger. Welcome to Public Eye News. On Wednesday, October 16th in the Northern Center, NMU will hold their 52nd annual fall semester job fair for students and alumni. About 80 employers are scheduled to attend. Students and alumni who log in to Handshake and join the event and check in at the job fair will have their names entered into a drawing for one of 10 prizes. The City of Madison Police Department, Mid-Michigan Health, and Northwestern Mutual are also hosting on-campus recruiting events in conjunction with the fair. For more information, be sure to contact NMU Career Services. And this Saturday evening, the Marquette Spectacle takes over Harlow Park after taking a year off. Tina Harris, the founder of the Spectacle, states that after 7 years of performances, it keeps getting bigger and better. With the event being formerly known as the Halloween Spectacle, the Marquette Spectacle is going to bring a parade, performances, and a grand finale to the streets of Marquette and Harlow Park. The theme for this year is Outer, an Alluring Dream. Anyone can be a part of the parade by lining up at the Marquette Commons at 4:30 p.m. The parade will wind its way through Marquette and Harlow Park, where there will be a few special performances. The grand finale will begin at 7 p.m.
At a public hearing last night, the Iron Mountain City Council voted to pass a recreational marijuana ordinance that may have big impacts on the Upper Peninsula. The ordinance, which allows for 2 recreational marijuana facilities in the city, has passed 4-2 at the end of the hearing. The council said that it was already established medical marijuana facilities will be the first to receive the ability to sell recreationally due to state laws concerning the issues. Many residents rejoiced at the decisions by the council, believing that it will be a big boost to the local economy and be beneficial to citizens. The ordinance will go into effect in 30 days, and the council now sets out to form a rubric to guide the process. Once the rubric has been adopted, there will be a 45-day window for applicants to apply for recreational licenses. And an unknown assailant who was active in Iron Mountain Monday morning has been arrested on assault charges. At 7:45 a.m. yesterday, the Iron River Police Department was called to the scene of a local gas station where the assault occurred. The victim was stabbed in the abdomen and had a laceration on his face. Police have stated that the wounds were superficial. The suspect, who was caught by security cameras, was identified by officers and taken into custody at his residence. It appears that the act was a random attack, and the suspect is currently in the Iron County Jail, and there is no longer any risk to the public.
Military funeral honors are a very important part to honor those who have served our country. When a service member is killed in action, the full honors team is sent to conduct the ceremony. This includes a 7-member detail with 6 enlisted people to carry the casket, perform a rifle volley, and play taps. Typically, a veteran's funeral will consist of just a 2-soldier detail, where they also present the flag to the family. A team leader of the Michigan Army National Guard team, Philip Slocum, says, quote, "Every one of us is honored to perform this detail. We train a lot for this and we put a lot of work into it. You would have no idea how much time goes into making sure we do this perfect every single time for every single one of our veterans," unquote. And around the Upper Country yesterday and Sunday, Michigan Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, too, took a tour of multiple businesses and organizations. Gilchrist spent time touring Michigan Tech's research facilities. He also visited the MTEC Smart Zone to talk with new starting businesses from the area and how the state could help. Gilchrist says he has always supported people with ideas in Michigan and strives to grow more businesses. Gilchrist ended his tour of the Copper Country by meeting with the staff at Houghton Elementary School and reading a first-grade class a story. And with that, stay tuned. After the break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
On Finding Your Roots, Angelica Houston.
No idea that she was living this kind of life.
Mia Farrow.
It's much worse than I thought it would be.
And Isabella Rossellini.
She always said that she didn't want to have roots.
Ancestry uncovers a painful past.
I see why my father never mentioned his father now.
As DNA reveals.
You want to meet this person?
A surprise.
That's hysterical.
Finding Your Roots.
Tonight at 8 on WNMU TV.
Welcome back. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has named Samuel Little as the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. Little claims to have strangled 93 people, mostly black women, and currently over 50 claims have been verified by the FBI, and the other claims are believed to be true. Little has been in prison since 2012, but only in recent years has he been confessing to more murders. Little is a former boxer that used his time traveling to prey on drug addicts and troubled women. The 79-year-old is currently serving multiple life sentences. And despite a warning from President Trump, Turkey appears poised to launch a military strike against the Kurds in northern Syria. This follows the president's decision to pull U.S. troops out of the region. CBS's Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House.
Turkish forces are moving into position along the Syrian border after American soldiers withdrew from the area. Turkey is expected to mount an offensive against the Kurdish population there. For years, the Kurds have fought ISIS alongside U.S. troops. In a statement, Kurdish leaders called President Trump's decision to pull out, quote, tragic. But on Twitter this morning, Mr. Trump wrote, "In no way have we abandoned the Kurds," and said the U.S. will continue to provide them with financial and military aid. During a briefing at the White House last night, Mr. Trump said the U.S. had only a few soldiers in the area.
We had 50 in the region that you're talking about, 50 soldiers, and they've been already moved out.
The president is defending the decision as a step towards getting the country out of what he calls endless wars. But the White House is getting pushback from both parties. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell issued a statement warning that a sudden withdrawal would only benefit Russia, Iran, and the Assad regime.
This is very troubling, and again reflects a president when it comes to Syria, when it comes to the crisis in that region, who has no real strategy.
The president is warning the Turkish government that it faces financial penalties if its military engages in any unforced or unnecessary fighting. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Yesterday, there has been a murder of a key local election observer in Mozambique a week before the presidential vote. Anastasio Matavel was shot dead after leaving a training for national election observers in southern Gaza province. A police spokesman, Orlando Mudumane, confirmed to the Portuguese news agency Lusa that several of the suspects were police officers. The 4 officers worked in special operations and their commanders had been suspended. The European Union Election Observer Mission, one of several international observers, strongly condemned the murder. The presidential election takes place on October 15th, and it is expected to be especially challenging, even beyond the political tensions that in the past have led to violence. And the Supreme Court is hearing arguments today in 2 landmark cases for LGBTQ rights. The cases will determine if it is legal under existing federal law to fire an employee based on sexual orientation or gender identity. Natalie Brand is at the court with the latest.
Police cleared 2 suspicious packages at the Supreme Court as the justices began to hear arguments in closely watched cases concerning LGBTQ rights.
Civil rights, now!
Demonstrators from both sides of the debate gathered as the session got underway.
This is about the American dream. It's about having the freedom to own your own journey.
One case involves Gerald Bostock, who says he was fired as a child welfare services coordinator in Georgia after joining a gay softball league.
I mean, it's 2019. We shouldn't have to be having this conversation. But that's why we're carrying our efforts to the United States Supreme Court.
Tuesday morning's oral arguments also involve a skydiving instructor in New York, Don Zarda, who said he was fired after telling a client he was gay.
The question for the court to decide will be whether Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act extends workplace protections for sexual orientation and gender identity.
The gender identity case involves Amy Stevens, who tells us she was fired from a Detroit area funeral home after telling the owner she was transgender and planned to transition.
I guess the thing that hurt most was they never even wanted to see the transition.
Attorney John Birch represents the owner of the funeral home.
He was applying a sex-specific dress code that the federal government acknowledges is completely lawful.
The court is expected to issue its rulings in the spring, a first sign of how the new conservative majority will approach gay rights. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
And stay tuned. After this break, we'll have your weather and sports.
The most dramatic moment of learning in my life happened in less than a second.
50 years ago, 5 scientists made a revolutionary discovery.
It was a flashbulb moment.
They learned how to heal a battered planet.
We found the rules, how systems work, how the world works.
Join these unsung heroes as they tell their unique story of hope, one that will change the way you see nature.
Wednesday night at 8 on WNMU TV.
I'm Caleb Rydell, going to be taking you through your weather for today. As you can see behind me on the NMU campus, we have sun shining down on our students as they make their way to and from class today. Taking a look at our current conditions, we have partly cloudy out there with the temperature of 66 degrees, winds out of the south at 15 miles per hour, and a barometric pressure of 30.10 inches and falling. Taking a look tonight, those clouds are going to come out and we are going to see a low of 50 with winds out of the south at 12 miles per hour. Those clouds are going to stick around tomorrow when we see mostly sunny out there and a high of 68 with winds sticking around 16 coming out of the south. Let's take a look across the UP. Right now we're going to start up in Sault Ste. Marie. We got clouds a little bit of everywhere right now. Starting with Sault Ste. Marie with 66 degrees, 63 in Manistee, Escanaba with 63, and down in Menominee at 64 and sunshine. Taking a look at the western half of the UP, 66 in Iron Mountain, 67 up the Keweenaw and Houghton. Up in the Keweenaw and Houghton with 71 degrees, and back here in Marquette, that's 66 degrees and sunshine. Let's take a look at your week ahead. Now on Thursday, we're looking at a high of 65 with a low of 55 and partly cloudy. Friday's got that high of 61 with a low of 37, so it might get chilly with some rain. And then Saturday, that low is going to stick around as we have a low of 36 with a high of 43 and partly cloudy out there. Well, it's getting a little cooler out there, but I hear we're still doing some sports. Luckily, they're indoors at the Dome.
Of course they are, man. NMU freshman Taekwon Cox has been named the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletics Conference Special Player of the Week. This comes after a phenomenal performance that saw him run a 99-yard kickoff return all the way to make a touchdown in the first quarter of Saturday's game against Wayne State University. This is the second season straight that NMU has earned Player of the Week honors after playing Wayne State, with current sophomore Anthony Ladd earning Defensive Player of the Week last season. The Wildcats will head to Michigan Tech this Saturday to play for the Miners' Cup. And on Monday night, the defending champion St. Louis Blues found a 3-2 victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs. This victory comes from a game-winning goal from defensive Alex Petrangelo, earning his 400th career point, as well as his 23rd game winner. This breaks the tie with Al MacInnes for most game winners by defensemen in the franchise history. Oscar Sundqvist and Bryden Chen also scored, with Jordan Bringington stopping 32 shots to help St. Louis improve to a 2-0-1 this season. The Maple Leafs host the Tampa Bay Lightning at 7, and the Blues face the Ottawa Senators at 7:30, both on Thursday night. And in esports news, the fighting game Super Smash Bros. Finished its finals of the Big House 9 event this weekend. Singles winners include Josh Brody for 64, Joseph Mango Marquise for Melee, and so does Zachary Attica for Ultimate. And in League of Legends, World's play-in stage is wrapping up with North America's Clutch Gaming, South Korea's Damwon Gaming, China's Hong Kong Attitude, and Europe's Splice all moved to the group stage to face the other 12 teams in the championship. The first group stage match, takes place at 8 a.m. Saturday versus Europe's Fnatic and South Korea's SKT Telecom. And that's all the time we have for today's show. Thank you for tuning in to Public Eye News, and make sure to tune in tomorrow for some more.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.